All right, there we go. Apparently we are live finally. My name is Draskyl. Joining me is Team Complexity. Obviously, some people going to the international. We're going to have a discussion with some other players, and we have everyone from the team. And yes, some people saying the pictures, yes, we know they're old pictures. We couldn't get anything else. Apparently, nobody from Complexity can afford a webcam. Cough, cough. But we do have everyone here from the team, so why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Anybody who wants to go first?
I'm Mike.
You're Jeyo, but that's okay.
Hello, I'm Mike.
No, I'm Mike.
No? Yeah, Fluff.
I'm TZ.
Hannah? Santa
I'm
Ana.
Hannah Montana.
Alrighty. So we got that cell. I don't think we can hear Fluff at all, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys can hear him, but his mic is like really quiet for me.
Hi, I'm Brian Lee.
Is mine
Jeyo,
okay?
Your BM. Yeah, your mic's fine. Don't worry about it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and just get right into the first question, which I'm sure you guys had beforehand. I think Aaron was kind of sending those. So what do you guys think on Quantic not getting an invite to the International 2? They're going to have to go through qualifications. Do you think that's fair?
Well,
Who do we start with?
Anybody,
It's
whoever has a thought on it.
it's a little
No.
disappointing to not have like another North American team, but
So you think
I don't
Are
know.
you
I
saying
think,
EG is not a North American team?
well, there's only two, but it would have been nice to have more. I think they kind of had to invite M5 though.
Yeah. The invites are like pretty standard, but it's unfortunate that they couldn't go. Even though they're like Oni.
When we had EG on here the other day, they spoke shortly about how any team who was going to get invited to the International anyway should be able to qualify. So I feel like Quantic is probably on that caliber of team who will be able to make it anyway. So
Yeah.
I think that we'll still probably end up seeing them.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on them to win the West qualifier.
And there's going to be a lot of teams, though. I think it's going to be really exciting, especially considering like every single caster in the world can basically cover it.
Especially it's like BO3. I don't think they've ever lost a BO3 set.
That should definitely be interesting. So, back to a little bit about that. I saw you guys actually playing today too, and you guys were up against TTV, I believe it was, and it looked like you guys had a pretty solid early game, but you just couldn't really seal the deal. Do you guys have anything to say about that loss today? Like anywhere?
There was a lot of
or things
mistakes
like
and stuff. Like, and you can't afford to make mistakes against heroes like SA because it costs you a bunch of centuries and a bunch of gold, and it snowballs like really hard when you fuck up one team fight and he's got like a defusal and then they roche. And then, yeah, you have no map control and then you have to spend all your money on sentry wards and gems and stuff.
Yeah, you can
It's
like
really
solar
cool.
flare with your heroes too, since Ricky, you can't see Ricky. He'll just like one time you just come out of your ass and then kill you.
So did that last pick throw you guys off at all? Do you think that's why you kind of got into that situation? Because he was like really popular a couple of weeks ago, I would say, and then he just kind of fell off a bit in lieu of heroes like Morphling. So do you think that actually had an effect on it at all, or was it just completely communication problems and just play overall?
I think it was like all play. We were fine for a long time and then just like a series of mistakes and you couldn't come back from it after a while. No matter what we did. They have like Panda and Blink Earthshaker who got blink really fast, and no matter what you do, they have like stronger team fight, and even if you want to fight, it costs like so much in sentry wards and trading heroes and buyouts, and they have like Roche advantage and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's hard to overcome. I was trying to watch the VOD actually. I got about halfway through, and for some reason the own site just was playing like 3 simultaneous videos at the same time in one browser window. I'm not even sure how that happened, but I only got to see the first half, and it looked like you guys held your own pretty well. Just kind of snowballed, like you said. So that was a bit unfortunate. But Hannah, you guys have anything to add? Hannah and Fluff, you guys have been pretty quiet so far.
If you can hear me, I could say something.
I think we can.
Is he
Can
low?
anybody on the stream actually say if they can hear him? Because he's really low for me. Can anybody say for sure if they can hear Fluff?
I'll just
Yes.
I'll talk right now. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you just barely. So go ahead, man. Let me turn up my.
Okay.
Let me turn up my background sound.
Dude, is your microphone settings off?
Everything's up. Not really sure.
Well, I
I get
turned my
this-
sound up quite a bit, so they might be able to hear you now.
Yeah. Well, the TTV game, I think that the early game was pretty solid. I think it came down to there's a couple failed ganks and mistakes. Like we kind of underestimated our resources there. Like we ganked the SA with our support heroes instead of using a core hero like Queen of Pain to come up and put out the extra DPS. So when SA got counter ganked, a lot of the ganks got turned around and into their favor. So I think that was like the biggest mistake for us, and SA just snowballed. So that was I think that's the reason why we lost that game.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised actually by the performance of TTV. I know they're not really a new squad, they have a lot of veteran players, but they haven't really been together that long in Dota 2, so I was actually kind of impressed that they were even able to take a game off you guys, barring any mistakes that you might have made during the game. I was kind of taken back a bit. Alrighty, so I think we pretty much beat that subject to death. Let's go on to the next one. How do you guys feel about the upcoming Chinese teams like Orange and Zenith? Do you feel like they're going to be a significant threat to you guys, or do you think it's just going to be volatile in general with the teams?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, like, do you guys feel threatened by any of the Chinese teams, like Zenith and Orange and stuff like that? The up-and-coming teams, too, as well, that have been transferring over?
I'm scared of Chinese because they train, like, 24 hours every day. Like, you can see them play at, like, 3 a.m. in the morning and stop at, like, 6 a.m. the next day. That's how hard they train.
Yeah, I heard something crazy, like 10 to 12-hour sessions or something like that, and they play
More
at
than
night,
that. I
too.
think more than that.
Is it
Probably
really more
like-
than that?
Yeah, I think so.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, Chinese.
Those guys are fiends, and like they have the establishment to do it. They have like they all live in team houses, and Dota's their salary, and they're all experienced enough in Dota 1 to like know how to win and create strategies and play them and figure out why they lost and stuff. Like it's only a matter of time before they catch up.
Yeah. They're like only behind for strategies, but the mechanical skills, so they're like,
So do
It's
you
a lot
feel-
harder.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
It's a lot harder to practice against them too, because when they're playing from China, either team is gonna have a pretty big advantage, just in ping.
Yeah, that is definitely really important to keep in mind, too. I was actually going to ask kind of a follow-up question for this, is like, do you feel like they have enough time to prepare, like teams like LGD and stuff who just made a transition, do you think they'll be ready? Or do
Oh,
you
yeah.
think that it's not going to be nearly enough? Because I know that EG said that they really weren't as scared because they don't feel like it's enough time to adapt, but Jeyo just said that he feels like they're already mechanically up there with the players that are top tier, so do you feel like they'll just adapt to the drafting and just be that much more aggressive?
it's because of how they use their time. I mean, they use like 16 hours of each day to train. Like I don't think any European or North American team does that on a daily basis. So I think it is enough time for them to catch up.
Mike, Fluff, you guys got anything to add to that?
That's about accurate. I think they will like be ready by the time the international comes around.
Alright. So I guess that sorts that issue out. Okay, so who do you guys want to meet at the international? It could be like players, casters, teams, stuff like that. Who do you guys most look forward to meeting? Or even if you guys...
Juan!
You want to meet Chuan? Definitely understand that. I don't know, I think it's going to be really fun meeting everybody, just because...
I'm gonna meet Quantic after they win the qualifier. We're gonna go hang out.
Yeah, I think meeting pretty much anybody on any team would be exciting for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a nerd like that. Actually, I am. I want to meet Jeyo and IX Mike and Captain Dakes. Shout out to him from NADL. Best
Shout out to
captain.
Captain Davis.
He was probably
This is
my
why I
all-time
played
favorite
Dota.
person. Alright, so do you guys have any past LAN experience? I know I heard that you guys were boot camping. If that's accurate. I think you guys are at Chappie's house or something, is that right?
Not right now. We're gonna be in August.
Okay, so you guys
Before
are gonna
the
be spending time
international.
over there.
Yeah.
Jeyo goes to lands with his Pinoy friends. I don't think anybody else has land experience.
So this will actually be the first time that you guys have met as a team then and played together, like on LAN?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. We've only been playing online. But I played a couple of lands like for a really long time. Like I used to live in the Philippines. Like every corner of the street has like an internet cafe. Like you could just like challenge 5 people to go against your team, and you could like bet money on it. It's like hustling and shit.
That sounds pretty crazy, actually. It sounds like fights might
Yeah, it
break out
is.
because of stuff like that.
I mean, I was only 11 when I started doing that, and we were going up against like 20-year-old people and all that. I've been called pretty much like a cheater or something because they can't believe they get beaten by like 11-year-olds.
Yeah, that sounds... Honestly, that just sounds dangerous. That does not sound safe at all.
Yeah, that's why I got like a bunch of friends backing me up. Because they're the ones making the bet, not me. I'm just there to play.
Ah, okay. You're just the hired gun, the mercenary, Jeyo?
Mm-hmm.
You should just change your tag. I think that would be much more fitting. Okay, so since you guys don't have any LAN experience, does that bother you at all? Do you guys think that you're going to just be able to overcome that within the time period that you guys boot camp and go into the international at your strongest, or do you have any concerns that it might not mesh so well on LAN?
I think I play better when I'm in LAN, probably because of like no delay at all. Because of the LAN thing. So from my experience, like, I've played better in LAN than I've ever played in online.
Everyone says it's really important. Like, the most important factor is, like, LAN experience, but I've only been to, like, one LAN ever, so I couldn't tell you. Hopefully it's, like, not an issue, though, after boot camping. I'm sure it'll be an edge for some teams, though. With, like Navi and the Chinese teams who play LANs, like, their entire Dota career.
No, I think it really depends on the player, too. Sometimes you have people who can just concentrate on the game once it starts. I'm sure that nerves might be an issue for everybody, but after you get into the game a couple of minutes, you kind of just forget about it and just play the game. So I'm hoping that'll be the case. That way we can have, like, a good showing. I mean, obviously there are going to be, like, LAN powerhouse teams, like you said, Navi, Chinese teams who play together a lot. I think that's going to be one of the biggest edges that you can possibly have, most likely. And it's going to be a pretty big venue as well. Alright, let's see here. So we already talked about boot camping a bit. You guys are definitely planning on doing that. Do you guys know how long you're going to be there?
2 weeks before the
2
tournament.
weeks.
So you guys are only going for 2 weeks. I think some teams are actually going like an entire month. I think Ale said they're going to be there
Yeah.
like 6 weeks in advance just to get used to the delay, because they typically have to play in like 300 or more ping most of the time whenever they go up against other teams. Like, I don't even know what to expect with teams like that because they're just so used to playing on that delay. I mean, you don't want to say it's like, yeah, they're going to play bad because there's no delay. That's obviously not the case, but it's interesting to see what kind of improvement they're going to make. And apparently somebody in Jeyo's house is not pleased. Yeah, I can't really turn up my mic anymore, unfortunately. This is about as loud as it gets. The only thing I can do is get closer. I can get like this close, and it probably sounds great here, but it's really uncomfortable to sit this far forward. But I will try to do so for the duration of the cast. All right, let's go on to the next question. We already went over the game earlier today. We talked about that quite a bit. What do you guys think of the North American representation of Dota 2 so far? Do you think that you guys have a strong showing, or do you think it's going to get better?
It'll get better. I think, I don't know, relative to our results are, like, decent on paper, but every loss is disappointing.
Well, I think that you guys had one of the best records like a month or two ago or something like that. You guys had like 20-something wins and less than 10 losses, which is pretty absurd. And a lot of people kind of gave you guys flack for losing a handful of games. But in all honesty, you guys, like you said, your statistics are still pretty darn good, especially for a North American team, which most people would consider the European and Chinese scene to be the dominant ones. And I think that as time goes on, that the American scene is going to grow a lot more. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Quantic and EG and you guys are really going to show that you can compete in the international too? Feel like you guys have a chance of taking it home?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be All-American in the finals.
Really? You're calling the All-American final, huh? I mean, I'd love to see it, don't get me wrong. That would be awesome.
That would be the perfect ending.
USA, Chappie Cast. That is right. No, it's just so hard to call because I feel like since this is still a game in development, there's a lot of people who are putting way more time into it than they even used to in Warcraft 3 Dota.
Like, whoever just comes more prepared is like is gonna be the winner. It all comes down to that. If you're not prepared, then you probably won't have a good chance of winning.
It's still pretty far away, I think. Like, every week there's some team who's doing really well, and then the next week they're not. And
Yeah, you can't really tell who's gonna win.
there's always like new heroes coming out and new flavor of the month. like random shit that people like to run for a couple weeks and then it stops, and it's always changing. It's like I still think it's too early to like predict anything.
Yeah, there's going to be a handful more heroes in the pool for sure. They might even be almost done with it by the time the next international rolls around. I'm not sure how far they're in development of the next heroes, but speaking of that, how do you guys feel about the overall development of the beta? Do you think that adding in heroes like this is going to change the way the game's played even once all the heroes are in? Or do you think it's going to like revert back to what Warcraft 3 Dota was about?
I think it'll stay the same. The jungle push stuff that people like to do and the aggressive end game in 30 minutes that Europeans like. It's only missing a couple of heroes, I think, like Chaos Knight and maybe like Torn Chieftain. I don't know.
I just want to play Meepo.
Meepo.
Meepo scares
Do you
me.
think it's still gonna be like that though, when like the really brand new heroes get added to like Captain's mode?
Yeah, that's my question, because I followed Warcraft 3 Dota a little bit, not quite as extensively as I'm sure some of you guys have, but I always feel like if a game is in its infancy, even if it's copying another one, if it's developing in a different way, like heroes are being added at different times, that the way the game is played is just going to be different. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking a little bit too far into it, but I'm curious as to what you guys think. So, Fluff, TC, Hamilton, you guys have any thoughts, feel free.
If you can hear me, I can say something.
Yeah, I turned you up,
Yeah?
so you're good now, man. Feel free.
Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry, what was the question again? I was just listening 'cause I thought.
Yeah, we can hear you fine now. I just had a question regarding the way that the heroes are released in Dota 2 right now. Do you think it's going to revert back to how Warcraft 3 Dota was played, or do you feel like Dota 2 is going to have its own style that kind of sticks around?
Oh no, I don't think so. I think there will be a new style, because if you look at how Dota 2 progressed, the metagame, it shifted because the heroes were released like one after another, and more teams got to experiment with them in their lineups. Like you see, they're pulling out Tree and Protector and Ogre Magi, heroes like that, seeing if they're viable. You see Bane. These heroes wouldn't even be considered or touched at all in Dota 1 because they already are established heroes, but because of the way that the development works, all these heroes will be tested, and hopefully the hero pool will grow. But I'm pretty sure it will. I don't think that it'll be as limited as Dota 1 will be, especially with a lot of creative teams out there.
Yeah, I think really the way that things have developed, it kind of forces teams into trying new stuff, because you run out of options eventually, and then you try something to try to throw a team off guard, and you find out, hey, this works, it doesn't, you try it in scrims, things like that, so I definitely agree with you on that. Alright, and we are actually out of questions, so if anybody has any questions in the chat, legitimate ones, not just troll questions, feel free to ask anybody, myself, or anybody from Complexity. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer. We got a couple of minutes left on the show, and I want to thank you guys very much for taking time out of your day to be here. It's definitely awesome to have you guys on. And Rearzai asks, are you guys taking the Complexity boat to Seattle? I seriously doubt that's going to be the case. And will IX might grow out his beard into handlebars for TI2? I actually want to know the answer to that.
No, Chappie said I have to go clean shaven.
Really?
Yeah. He was mad.
What was the
Fun,
question
man.
again? I missed that.
The last
Oh,
one?
will Alex make his beard into?
That beard is majestic. I mean, that's pretty much all that can be said. Somebody asked, what do you guys think about the abuse of smoke in the jungle for heroes like Pudge, Shadow Demon, Darkseer? Do you think that's okay, or do you think it should be changed?
I think it's completely obnoxious, and I actually asked Ice Frog about it, and he said it's unintentional and he plans on fixing it. And it's like, I can't believe it's like actually allowed, because it's so like game changing and abusive, like straight up. It shouldn't even like be in the game to begin with, and people are using it and getting away with it.
Did you
And
watch...
you can be like,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
you can be like level 6 at 5 minutes with like the randomest heroes because of it.
Yeah, that
It's
shouldn't
really
be like
obnoxious, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to abuse.
Yeah, there was a game today, actually, Navi vs. Dare. I'm not sure if any of you guys caught that, but
Yeah.
Puppy did a jungle Pudge, and he was level 5 at like 4.5 minutes. It was pretty stupid.
Yeah, that's just like bug abuse. That's all it is.
Alright, we got a couple more questions coming in here. Do you guys have any plans for DreamHack? You guys still going to be practicing, or are you just going to watch games?
Well, we'll still try to practice for all the other tournaments. Unfortunately, we're not going to DreamHack, but
Yeah, I think it was just more asked if you guys are really going to be looking to see the other competition that's going to be there, to see how they play, or if you're just going to continue to practice throughout that time.
We're going to continue to practice, definitely. It's not going to stop us, and I don't think we're going to see anything new from it, but it'll definitely help us gauge who to look out for and who to study a little bit more. But we'll definitely continue practicing throughout that time.
Chappie, I think all the answers to those questions are the same, and I think that everybody from Complexity knows the answer to that as well. Well, let's take a different question here. What are your guys' thoughts on the Dota 2 store and Valve's method of free-to-play? I think people kind of expect this, but what do you guys think?
Wait, say
Battle
again?
points.
The free-to-play and like the battle points and stuff like that.
Battle points, that's all that matters.
What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
matchmaking killed my team.
That's all that matters, battle points.
Jeyo just wants those battle points, man. He doesn't care
This is
how
why I
he gets
play
them.
Dota.
He knew they were
I
coming
play
in
for
advance
battle
and just he fiends them now.
Shout out to the 15% battle points users.
Alright, here's a question. Who do you think's going to win the other qualifier? I think X Mike said he thinks Quantic's going to take one, but what do you guys think on who's going to take the other one?
Draskyl.
Anybody else?
Tongfu will win the Asian one, and then Quantic will win the European one.
Tongfu, huh?
I think
Yeah.
Myth Trust or Tongfu.
I think Mineski's gonna crush
Tongfu
those
is really good at
Chinese teams.
Dota 1 right now. And they have, like, good players. They're gonna win.
Mineski's gonna win, you know it.
No Pinoy shit.
Nah, that ain't gonna happen. You see SMM 2011.
Alright, let's see here. We got another question. I'm not going to do that, Chappie. I don't want to put... Make Tony speak or he's cut from Complexity. I'm sorry, I don't want to put you on the spot like that. So I'm going to ask you directly, Tony, what unreleased hero are you looking forward to the most?
coD'l.
Keeper of the Light, really? That's the hero?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's gonna dye his beard and his hair white when it comes out.
He would look pretty similar. I love
Yes.
the beard, though, and the chops. I'm definitely a fan. Alright, do you guys have any other questions? We got a couple of minutes here before we go ahead and wrap things up. So if you guys have any relevant questions you guys want to ask Complexity before we sign off, please feel free. There was a question that I was supposed to ask, I think. Ganked wanted me to ask it. I'm trying to find it right now. Oh, that question was asked. Okay, so I did get it covered. Do you think a Canadian team would win a Nations Cup, Bleak JOTC 1437 and Pain at Gold? That's actually a pretty interesting question.
Yeah?
You guys think you could win with that team?
USA ain't got nothing on us.
Dang. That's some real talk right there.
Real talk.
I'm a fan. I like it.
It's all about Canada.
This is actually a pretty good question. It says, ask everyone why they started playing Dota or Dota 2. I think a more relevant question would be, what keeps you guys playing? Is it just about the competition? Is it about the money? Is it just about enjoying the game?
It's about the battle points.
The battle points for Jeyo?
So I play Dota for.
No, I think it's a pretty reasonable question. I know a lot of teams, I've talked to captains from some teams, and they say there's like burnout and stuff like that, which I'm sure you guys experience. But I'm just curious if you
I
guys
just
have any
like
thoughts on
the... I've been playing it for so long, and I just love the game, and I'm always intrigued by like the strategy aspect of it, and people's picks and how they use them and stuff like that.
it. Anyone else? Hannah, do you want to add something, buddy?
What'd you ask?
I was asking what keeps you playing Dota, like what keeps you interested?
Pass.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Pass.
Pets. Okay. I suppose you can take a pass. Jeyo, he just wants the battle points. We'll just go with battle points overall. That'll be the answer from Complexity's team today, I think.
It is the answer. I mean, who doesn't want battle points?
Let's see. We already asked that question. We talked about the invites so far. I think everybody kind of expected a couple of those things. Have I ever had a more boring team on my show? Well, I only have to compare them to one other team, so I guess the answer would be no, unfortunately. So,
Oh, that's too bad.
EG was a bit more entertaining, mainly because Demon had a cat face for like 80% of the interview. But I don't want to slight Complexity and EG because they're both awesome.
All we need is Ike's my webcam. Bring
That's
the boys
what I
into
wanted,
it.
man. I looked at the picture and I was like, if I could just see that beard, I think my life would be complete. And the mustache, too.
A milkshake outside your tits.
But Chappie unfortunately said that he's going to have to shave clean for the international, too.
Yeah. He said we have to look marketable.
What about Hannah? Is Hannah going to have to shave too, Chappie? Is that the deal? Everyone just has to go in babyface?
That guy doesn't
That guy, are
talk.
you serious?
Hey, Hannah, you got a question. Samya's Fury.
He said, Hannah Montana, do you think looking like Jesus will give you an advantage at land? I can't imagine it would hurt, right? I mean, even if you're not religious.
Jesus.
That's Hannah.
Jesus plays Dota.
Alright, well the questions are kind of slowing down a bit and we haven't gotten anything else super relevant in a couple of minutes, but I want to thank you guys especially for joining me today. It was awesome having you guys on. I really do appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to do this interview, and I wish you guys good luck at the International. So thanks again, guys. You guys have any shout outs you want to make, plugs, sponsor, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just gonna say yeah.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to OmniGod, New Mexico Rifa, and to CC.
Fuck Omni God!
I don't think Chappie's too happy with that one, unfortunately.
I want to give a shout out to Brian Chapman. I love you. That's all.
So who's gonna do the sponsors for you guys? Is it gonna have to be Axe Mike?
Thought it was
Or do you
TC.
I guess I can do it. Shout out to Sound Blaster, Gamma Gamers, QPad, PNY, Creative, and Origin. And Game Collects, where we're going to be, it's the LAN center we're going to be boot camping at.
Game. That is an awesome name.
Yeah, they're nice people. They're
And
saving
shout
us
out
a lot
to
of
the guy-
money with their land center.
Shout out to the guy who gave me a free sword for Tight Under.
Free so you didn't even have to spend battle points on that. That's
Yeah.
definitely awesome.
So I play Dota for.
Alright, so we're about done here, guys. Thanks again for joining us. I was Draskyl. Joining me was the entire team of Complexity and Chappie in chat, too, who is their manager, aka guy who's going to make everybody shave for the International, too. But we are out of here. So thank you again very much for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye!